survivor and a thriver of a heart attack. And he's got a great book coming out called, what's it called, John? What do you call that book?
Navigating the Storm.
Navigating the Storm. I should know that. I was just kidding. I just gave you a plug. So the book is going to be released here pretty soon. And before we get into the book itself, I want to hear about your story. Tell me what happened and what was the impetus for this.
Well, I think most men would agree we like to be in control. Yeah. And so August 9th of last year, we're heading to our place in Michigan. Had a lot of stress going on. My mother just passed away. I was in the process of selling my practice. And we have some nasty neighbors in Michigan that are trying to prevent us from using our house as an Airbnb. And we're heading off for another 3-hour meeting where, we're going to be scapegoats. And thought I was having this panic attack, so I ended up going to the hospital. I was sweating so much they couldn't even get the leads on the EKG. So they finally got him on, said, this guy's having a heart attack, 911, take me in, get a stent put in. I was really blessed. I had no damage to the heart muscle.
That's good.
But I've got a lot of heart history in my family, and I'm thinking, I don't want to go through this crap again. So literally Saturday, I'm in bed in the hospital. I'm looking up stuff like I purchased a Mediterranean diet cookbook, and then and then Sunday, Layla said, where do you want to go? I said, Best Buy. We're going to Best Buy. We're going to get his and her Fitbits, and I'm not for this crap. So we've that was kind of the, I'd like to take the bull by the horns and run with it. So it was kind of just, I've been following my diet, no pun intended, pretty religiously and working out 5-6 days a week.
That's
and feeling good, but I think it was when I went to my doctor in February and I said, I've been struggling. Like some days I can't even get out of bed in the morning. And he had shared with me that in 2012, this is a doctor who was an Ironman triathlete. So the Hawaii Ironman, he used to do that every year. He had a heart attack in 2012. And he said for a year he was totally ticked off at God. And he struggles trying to get paperwork done. And I realized, shoot, nobody ever told me about the other side effects.
Right.
Like anger, denial, depression. And the more people that I knew that had been through this stuff said, I hadn't felt the same way. So I just felt, especially when I heard that a woman in my town, her husband had a heart attack at 45, didn't die from the heart attack, but died from the depression afterwards. Like, all right, this is enough.
Right.
We gotta change the way things are going on with this.
So your book is about how to thrive, how to navigate the storm, not just physically, but emotionally as well. Is that right?
Physically, emotionally, but also spiritually.
Yeah.
We interviewed a friend of mine as a nurse, and he said, the stats are there. If people don't have a spiritual dimension to their life, even if you exercise, eat right, take your medication, it's you're not going to have a complete recovery. There's a hole there that needs to be filled. So that's what we want to do is make sure everybody has a real game plan to move on.
Now, you mentioned you got the Fitbit. I thought you told me you got the Fitbit on the way home from the hospital. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. It wasn't Sunday. It was like the day of discharge. Like, we're not going home. We're going to get a Fitbit.
Yeah, it was, we went, I don't remember. We went someplace. I don't remember where it was. Oh, we went to get my medication. Left the hospital, went to the pharmacy, got my meds, drove to Best Buy, got his and her Fitbits, and charged them and put them on. And
Nice.
I've been wearing one of those. Well, I now have a Polar, but
Right.
I've been wearing one of those every single day.
Nice. And so you also mentioned something that I think most people don't realize. And, obviously you had a wake-up call, and you're an action taker, so you took action, and boom, there you go. But you mentioned a statistic to me a while ago that like 70% or something of people after this don't have the same reaction. They're kind of like, oh, well.
According to the women, the nurses where I did my cardiac rehab, they said, because I was curious, like, hey, what percentage of people come in? She said 30%. No. I said, what percentage of people actually come to rehab after a heart attack? She said, it's only 30%.
Jeez.
And I was shocked, and then I know people that went to rehab.
Right.
And so the other percentage that I don't have a handle on is what percentage of people are sticking with it after they go through rehab.
Right. After the fact, how long do they stick with it? Is this a couple weeks until they feel better, then they just go back to their old ways? Or...
Well, I think, there's a friend of ours from church who had a heart attack. He didn't have a heart attack. He had a quintuple bypass at 47 years old. So 5-way bypass. And his wife was, sharing with me. She said, he had the bypass. He's doing the rehab. Still eats the same crap. Not exercising. And
Uh,
when we talked to Father David, one of my contributing authors, he sees it at the hospital. It's like he's seen people come in, second and even third times because they're not changing their lifestyle.
huh. What do you make of that? When 30% of people take they have a because I think I read the stats are like you got 50-50 chance of even surviving a heart attack. So if you're one of the on the plus side of surviving it, why don't more people just say, "Oh, wake up with this thing"? Why do they go back to their old ways? You think?
I think you and I are both in sales, and the expression is people don't change unless it becomes too uncomfortable not to change.
Well, there's nothing comfortable having your heart stop. Come on, man, that's a pretty big uncomfortable
I,
thing.
but you know what? I think I think I don't know. I know Father David had asked some of these people. Somebody had just had he came back in for after a second heart operation,
Yeah.
and Father David asked him, "What are you willing to change to make sure this doesn't happen again?" The guy was a smoker, overweight, and he said nothing. He's I mean, he's not he was not willing to change a thing in his lifestyle to prevent this from happening again.
Hmm.
And you know what? I wish I had a better answer. I'm sure if I could ask a psychologist the same question, it may be because of thinking, what the hell difference is it going to make? It could be that people are also dealing with denial, anger, depression, and it's kind of
Right.
like, screw this. And I know for me, at some point I had a sit down with two of the nurses. I was
Yeah.
halfway through my rehab. I sit down with two nurses at the rehab program. Just kind of wanted, hey, let's step up your program a little bit because
Yeah.
they said I could start running and whatnot. And I said, hey, listen, if I do everything right, uh, can I get another angiogram next year? If I diet and exercise and whatnot. I said, and the one nurse who was there says, John, I'm looking at your family history. Even if you do everything right, you're probably going to be back here in 10 years.
Ooh.
Now,
How'd that make you feel, John? That's
oh,
a
I mean, literally, I went back to my office and cried for a while. It was really upsetting. And then I
sure.
realized, if I don't do anything, I'll probably be back here in 2 years.
So
No, really, because
buy yourself 8 years, yeah.
and so I just said, you know what? And if it's, after talking to a friend of mine who actually took care of me in the hospital,
Hmm.
he said, you know what? You may come back in 10 years, but it probably won't be anywhere near as bad as the first time. You may not come back in 10 years.
Right. Right.
But so genetics is a big thing, but I still, I just want to make sure. We just had our fifth grandchild last week, and I want
Wow.
to make sure I'm hanging around to, teach her how to do all the fun things in life.
Right, right. I was thinking about when we talked about these people who don't change their ways, and one thought came to mind, and maybe you can give me your opinion on it, but the body is so resilient. You can survive a lot. You can be, 30, 40 pounds overweight and live a long life. You can be a smoker and live a long life. So maybe it's the fact that they just, not ignorance, but more like, denial, I guess, is one thing, but the body kind of repairs itself and it does okay when you abuse it. It doesn't like, oh, I ate a hamburger, I'm going to die. So maybe there's something along the lines of they just, I don't know. It's weird. I'm still confused by it, I guess. If that makes
I
sense.
you know I look at this. It's almost like in the middle of this pandemic, you're seeing people are actually seeing the blue skies in cities where the pollution
Yeah.
has been so heavy.
Yeah.
You've got the national parks. You've got animals that are actually walking through the park that would normally be thousands of feet at a higher elevation.
Hmm.
The waters are clearing up. So it's kind of, I think our bodies are the same way. If you take care of it, they can recover. I know
Right.
I was a smoker until about, when did I quit? 1990, yeah, 1992.
Okay.
And, they say if you stop, I think your body recovers after like 7, 8, 9 years or
Oh,
whatever.
or less, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
I heard
kind of,
5. Yeah.
so it's kind of, I realize if we give our bodies a chance, but if we keep plugging in the same old crap, it's going to
Right.
keep. But the one thing that I had to realize is that I really enjoy doing martial arts.
Right.
Matter of fact, I got a hold of my old kung fu teacher. I'm going to start working out with him again.
Nice.
And I don't know if you ever seen any Jean-Claude Van Damme movies,
I think a
but
couple.
that guy could do a split. I mean, he even at his age right
Hmm.
now, he can still do a full split. even in my dreams, I could never do a split. And then I just have to realize that's not me.
Yeah.
And going back to my family history, I've got a family history of cardiac disease. If I come back in 10 years, I'll come back, but I got to do what I
Right.
can. But I just have to realize I got to play with the cards that I've been dealt with.
Yeah, a split. I'm just impressed I can still touch my toes every day. So that's my goal. Hey, if I can touch my toes, I'm in good shape.
Well, it's better than being toes up, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So it's a little bit shocking and people don't recover. What has been on your journey and what you've learned from this thing, other than the social pressures of people not recovering, personally, what has been the biggest surprise or benefit to you?
Oh, well, the benefit was I was getting a little discouraged doing rehab because when I
Yeah.
first started, they take your blood pressure, they put you on a heart monitor, and when I was walking I was on the treadmill. I'm trying to remember how fast I was going, like maybe 4 or 5 miles an hour, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't want my heart rate going above 115 beats a minute.
Right.
And then after a couple months, they said, "Hey, you can start jogging," and sort of funny. So I went back to the fitness center, and they said you can get your heart rate up to 130 beats a minute. I'm thinking, awesome! I'm ready to hit the road,
Oh
dude.
boy.
I am back. I literally made it to one length of the track, and my heart rate's up to 130 beats a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It was like just wah,
Yeah.
and then but I kept working at it. 3-4 days a week I was jogging, and now I can do what am I getting? I usually try to run 3 miles, every other
Mm-hmm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm down to about a 10 minute 30 mile,
Nice.
and my heart rate stays below 130 beats a minute.
Very good.
So it just they said you got to be patient.
Right.
It's stop and smell the flowers. Flowers don't necessarily focus on. I am going to do a break a 9 minute mile. I'm not. It's just I don't know if that'll ever happen. I just gotta. But the fact that I'm running, the fact that I'm biking and doing some strength training, I just have to realize, smell the roses along the way.
Right.
Don't necessarily focus on being the fastest, the best, the strongest.
Yeah, we talked about that before too, and we mentioned about what's the point? Is the point to a personal best or competition with somebody else or yourself? I mean, there's a mindset there of why set a goal of 9 minutes, get the single digits for what purpose?
Well, because that's the way I ran my life. It was always, I was out biking on, let's see, Saturday. So I was out biking Saturday. Layla and I went out. She had to turn back because she had an interview with you.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of pedaling, and this old guy passes me.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah. Wait a
Oh
minute.
yeah, you SOB. My bike is better than yours. My bike is faster than yours, and I'm going to kick your tail.
I'm a kung fu master. I know what you are.
Oh gosh, and then it was like I could feel myself like kind of pushing the limits, like Groleau, slow down. But it's funny because he actually had to stop because he had a problem with one of his wheels.
Yeah.
And as I'm going by, I'm like, yeah, got you little SOB,
Oh, what'd you do to his wheel?
Yeah, no, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I stopped. Hey, listen, you need everything okay? You need some help? No, I'm fine. But part of me wanted to go like, yeah, I passed the guy. It's like,
Yeah.
just that macho thing. But
Yeah. Okay, that's good. All right. And then what about I know you're very positive and spiritual and whatnot, but I've always loved to hear people's perspective on the life, lemons in the lemonade thing. There's books I've loved like Crazy Sexy Heart Attack, and your wife's got a book coming out. But what's the silver lining or the huge benefit that you've realized from thriving after your heart attack?
I'd say two things. Well, maybe three. One is through this process, I realized that I've got some anger issues. I was really ticked off last year. At one point, I actually had researched finding a place. I figured the 4 guys that are causing us a problem in our neighborhood, I was going to challenge them to a fight. I knew I could handle 2 at a time. I figured 3 rounds, 2 minutes each. And I just wanted to kick the crap out of them. And then it was like,
why not?
and actually went on a healing retreat September, like a month after my heart attack, and realized, man, I got to let this go because this is as I'm seeing stuff, it's the stress is I mean, I'm hearing
Yeah.
from the nurse that we talked to, a friend of mine last week. He said people are coming in from the coronavirus having heart attacks, and it's stress related.
Yeah.
The stress in this is causing their heart attacks.
Yeah. It's not correlation, it's causation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and as we've been talking to Father David, his favorite thing is, you have to look at what drove you to your heart attack. And what
Mm.
drove me to my heart attack was things like I had to be the best, especially with my college planning firm. I
Yeah.
had to have the best college planning program in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I had to have the best money managers in the country. It was the best, the best, the best.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, it's like putting a nail in my coffin every year. And I just last year realized this is stupid. I'm
Yeah.
burnt out. I need to have someone else take over what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I need to find something I really love to do, and before I have another heart attack and end up like the rest of Americans with a widowmaker and you know
Yeah.
Layla's driving the pontoon boat by herself.
Maybe she upgrade.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the number one benefit was you able to take your former anger issues and let them dissolve away. So it was a wake up call to say, you know what, I don't need to be angry. That's a plus for you. What else? You said three things.
The second one was fear. I mean,
Hmm.
since about 2000, actually 2000, I've been working with a business coach, and every year I'd have lengthy business plans, marketing, business,
Yeah.
personal, marketing plan, business plan for personal and professional. And every year was like, man, if I didn't achieve my goals, I was really kicking myself.
Yeah.
And it was based upon fear. I was afraid that I was not good enough. I was afraid my
Mm.
clients uh, wouldn't think I was good enough. So I had to have the master's degree. I had to have other certifications,
Yeah.
on and on and on. It's just like, oh my gosh, my life is really being run by fear, and that's a horrible way to live. So I was really able to let go of the fear. That was like actually happened in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was we'll call it the year of anger, and then I think in terms of uh, purpose of my life, I've really been. I looked at my practice. I'm really good at what I do, but if I was honest with myself, I really haven't liked what I've been doing for years.
That's a very common theme with professionals. They're really good at something, but they may not like it. And it's a strange mix because you're good, it provides income, provides a lifestyle, but if you don't like it, you're not living in purpose. You're doing okay, but at the end of the day or end of the life, you're like, oh, I really want to be a painter or writer,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I think so part of my purpose. It's taken actually a few years to try to figure this out, but
Yeah.
so the heart attack came at a great time for me to say, okay, I really need to stop to let go of what I don't like to do
Yeah.
and find out what I'm passionate about. This is kind of, this book is kind of exciting. I'm looking to some of the things we've talked about in terms of having retreats for heart attack
Yeah.
survivors, maybe going some public speaking tours,
Yep.
doing blogging, vlogging, whatever. And I love working with people and meeting with people. I just need to, I've had to let go of the administrative crap, which
Yeah, good.
that spirals me down. It's just like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I know you and Leila have both talked about the retreats you've gone on and really enjoyed them. Whenever we have a conversation about it, your energy just lights up. So even though the retreat isn't ready yet, somebody will be watching this, they can remember or make a note, or maybe they'll watch again in the fall or of end of 2020 or something. Why don't you describe what you envision for one of those things? I'd love to hear about it.
well, to go to your question as far as why people don't change.
Yeah.
So I think we want to have some things that have to do with diet. So we're going to
Yep.
probably have maybe guys that never cooked before. Maybe they don't know anything other than, it's like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So probably pick some stuff from the Mediterranean cookbook, the American Heart Healthy cookbook. Work with guys in the kitchen. We'll take turns making lunch,
Yeah.
give them some recipes that say, oh, this isn't bad. Hey, this tastes great. I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
So the diet part, some people I don't think have ever exercised at all. And
Probably.
so it's kind of our place in Michigan. We're right near some great hiking trails. We're right on the water. So we've got kayaks, canoes, go out, spend some time. If the water's warm enough, go for a swim.
Mm-hmm.
But just to kind of and do something as a group.
Yeah.
I know my buddy literally down the nature trail for me. There are days that if I hadn't set up a time for him to come with me,
Yeah.
I would not have gotten my butt out of bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's true. When we look at the 12-step program, you have a sponsor. Everybody involved at 12-step has a sponsor to make sure you are accountable.
Right.
So I think the retreat and other things we're looking to do is so we have somebody that we can be accountable to make sure, whether it's taking our meds, whether it's exercising, even whether it's walking or whatever it is, but just to get out of bed and move.
Yeah.
But if you're accountable to somebody and someone else is accountable to you, the best way to learn is to teach.
Yep.
So if someone's accountable to you, it's kind of like, shoot, I better get my butt out of bed because I'm responsible to this guy. And
right.
So I think if creating a community of people that have kind of had same experiences, it's really easy to think that you're alone. I mean, when I went through this, it was easy to get tunnel vision, thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm the only one that's gone through this." And so I think if we can create a venue for men and or women and their spouses, but just to kind of have people you can hang with.
And one of the things that always intrigues me when you're talking about this is the fact you love the group environment and whatnot. And you started talking about this at the very beginning about the emotional toll, denial, anger, all those things of people, because they don't really talk about the rehab. The rehab, they talk about making your heart strong, and nutrition talks about eating the right foods. But in terms of your attitude and belief system and spirituality, there's no therapy for that, and there's certainly for guys who are like, no, I'm fine. I think that'll be a big part of your retreat, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that I was really shocked to find out. I think of all the people that I've spoken to that have had some type of cardiovascular incident, one of them said, "Yeah, they did tell me that I might be dealing with some anger issues." He said,
one sentence.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's no, they really. I think most medical plans provide for rehab.
Yep.
I think it's 12 weeks. Was it 36 sessions? Something along those lines. Right. And but they never talk, and they will cover therapy, but they never talk about it. Yeah. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I mean, this is stuff that, I mean, this sucks you down a hole. I mean, can be a very deep, dark hole. I mean, as I said, there's some days I literally couldn't get out of bed, and I never told Layla, my wife, because I'm thinking, I got this. I can do this.
Yep, it's that whole, it's that masculine stoicism. Like, I don't need any help. I'm fine. And that's where you're like, your mind just spins around and spins around. I get it, And
the thing that is sad is that because I saw this happen to my own dad. You're not aware of the impact that your emotional toll takes a toll on others.
Oh yeah.
Because my dad, when he started having heart trouble, he was having chest pains. It's angina, is what they call it. And so he'd have chest pains if it was too cold or if he was working too hard. And he would snap at me, And I didn't know what was going on. He never told me what was going on. Sometimes he'd say, hey, answer the phone. The phone is literally 2 feet away, but because he was having chest pains, he couldn't move to get it. I'm thinking, you lazy SOB, what the hell are you having me answer the phone for? There was no communication, no discussion.
Right.
And, when people said, your dad's, he's changed. He's not the way that he used to be. But it was like, at the time, that's all I knew. And we never talked about it.
Wow.
So.
How long before you figured that out? Ever? Or until later?
My father?
That was a problem, the angina. Did you figure it out later or much later? Or?
You know what? It was actually, my mom was a nursing instructor, and she was actually in critical care. And she would say things like, don't get in an argument with your father, he could have a heart attack. And I'm like, what the F are you talking about? You're 13, 14, 15 and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And I didn't realize until much later. Well, I didn't really understand it until I had my heart attack. I knew that the angina, the chest pains, I mean, he had 2 bypass operations, had a stroke in between those.
Yeah.
Again, because he didn't really change his lifestyle. I knew that had affected him, but part of it was like, what the hell are you taking it out on me for? I really had no idea until I went through this myself what it was like to deal with that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And let me just pull this. I was going to tell people about your website here. People can go and connect with you at the Facebook group, facebook.com, Navigating the Storm with John. in case you're wanting to know. But that's going to be your initial community until you get the retreats up. People can go there to connect, share their frustrations, get a slap from John, or maybe a kung fu kick in the head or something, I guess, huh?
And I'm trying to post a couple things per week of like something that has to do with just like the one that I'm posting this Wednesday. I picked up. You can't. I don't know if you can see it. I got rid of the growth.
Oh yeah. You look a whole year younger.
And you look. I just realized you shaved yours.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we didn't even talk about it. This happened by coincidence, I guess.
So it was pretty funny because Layla, I shaved first thing yesterday morning.
Yeah.
She didn't notice it until later in the afternoon when I finally said, "Hey, honey, notice anything different?" She's like, "Well, you got your hair cut." And then I went like this. She goes, "Oh my gosh!" She hated the beard.
Yeah.
Absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
So just kind of, just sometimes you don't notice the things in each other.
Yeah.
I'm trying to post a really great recipe that I've run across once a week. Other recipes other videos, like whether it's going biking or just kind of, I'm probably going to talk about. We talked about blood pressure, blood pressure monitors.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to talk about, I think this week, maybe the difference between my Polar and my Fitbit. Just something that's related to what the topic is, but also just kind of like, hey, let's do something fun.
Right. Very good. So, folks, it's called go to his Facebook group first. That's a great place to start. It's facebook.com/navigating the storm with John. He's got a best-selling book coming out here in a little bit, and it'll be a great book, I know, because I'm helping with it. And we're very excited about these treats when the treats come up. You've got a beautiful place there in Michigan, so that'll be the first place to have some retreats to bring some people there and get them aligned and in purpose and not going back to the hospital anytime soon, hopefully.
Amen to that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time today, John. Appreciate you. Navigating the Storm is a book. And John Groleau, he's a great guy. He's got some good things to offer you. So go to his Facebook group, facebook.com/navigating the storm with John. Check it out.